Welcome on into Havin Fun Hockey. Marcel Gotch, also known as Adam Unruh over there, alongside Harvey the Hound, a.k.a. Jack O'Rourke, or vice versa, however you really want to shape that one up to be. A lot of stuff to hit for you guys today. Adam, we hit a record low 24 on the Puckdoku over the weekend, so we're going to try and see if we can tackle that, get below the 24. We got a jersey of the week for you guys and a whole lot of hockey talk we got to get into. A insane playoff race right now in the Eastern Conference. Our picks for who we think will end up with those 3 seeds out there in the divisions, who's going to take home the wild card. The Western Conference also has some stuff going on as well. We're going to knock out those final spots for the wild card and whatever the heck is happening in the Chin-Cific, the worst division in all of professional sports, except the Vegas Golden Knights did get a win last night as we're recording this. And then we'll rip it off with a HockeyDB as well as a tribute to Jesse Pierce, who passed away last week, the Minnesota Wild reporter. So a lot to hit on today, Adam. Should we get over to that grid? I mean, real quick before we get into it, Adam, where's your head at now? How do we start playing the Puckdoku off rip thinking, hey, we're going for 24 or lower? Or is it more of a, hey, let's get 3 boxes in off of what we know. Okay, hey, we're sitting here, we got a chance. Let's dial in for it. Like, are you trying to just put balls in play, or are we swinging for the fences now?
Every time I go out there, Jack, all I'm trying to think of doing is just having fun, and the score kind of follows from there. So last few have been really fun, and we're gonna let it fly again.
All right, let's let it fly. It's time to hit this week's Puckdoku. Welcome on into the Puckdoku. Adam, we got to go lower than 24. I see some original 6 teams out there. That's always a good sign to start us off. Any initial thoughts for you? As always, let me state again on this program, you're not getting any peaks beforehand. No Andrew Peaks. You're getting our first look at the grid.
Yeah, I got a couple names for you right off the top of my dome.
Love it.
For the playoff point row here at the bottom, I really want to. I know Vincent Damphousse is normally my guy.
That's where I thought you were going.
I know Vincent Damphousse is my guy. I'd like to put a disclaimer out there, but I also have another guy that I really like. His name's Yvan Cournoyer, former Montreal Canadian, back from the 60s and 70s. He's going to go ahead and be really nice. It's a Y.
Oh, wow.
An I. Yeah.
Adam, if you want to talk about real, like, pre-Berlin Wall type stuff we got cooking here.
The Quebec, baby. The Quebec native.
1%. That's how we start. Yep.
A former Penguin that jumped into my mind too for the Rangers slot there was Marty Straka. I don't know how many people will have him in there, but I don't really know too many like older Rangers.
Does it have to be? It's 20 playoff points career, right?
Yeah, I don't think that they have to be with the Rangers.
So this could also open us up to like any random rental piece who went there for 1 year, right?
That's what I'm saying. I think Marty Straka was kind of a rental at that. He played a while for the Penguins, which is why I know him. But
let's do it. I like it.
Yeah, Marty Straka.
0.6. Beautiful.
All right.
You got to think Riley Smith has 20 playoff points, right?
Riley Smith, confirmed former Bruin.
Confirmed former Bruin. We actually called in our good friends at Getty Images to make sure that this one would fit. Coming off the GWG last night. You'd think I could spell his name by now. He's only been here for... Isn't it Ari? Yeah, there we go. It doesn't stay up. Yeah, there we go. 0.2. There we go. Shout out to Apples for that one.
Very nice. That was a struggle. All right. Was Marcus Naslund a Ranger? I think he was also. I know he's a Canuck.
But... For sure, a Canuck. The first name I had there was Tyler Mott.
I like that. I think we could probably go low in that one.
Yeah, we don't have to. I'm thinking.
Tyler Mott's a good name there. Tyler Toffoli.
Was Toffoli in both those places?
I'm looking at Canucks and Montreal.
I was gonna say I did not think of him as a Ranger ever.
Not a Ranger.
Toffoli there. I'd lock in Toffoli.
I think he might be a little high, honestly.
Okay, we can wait.
But I just wanted to throw a name out for a safety net there.
Revo never made his way out to Vancouver?
No. That's right. Jack, just top left, I'm looking at Mike Matheson and Jeff Petrie are both options up there.
I love it.
I don't want to lock either of those in, though. I think they'll be high, but just like we have them in case we need them type thing. Ooh. Nico Mikkola is a Ranger and a Panther. He's he's on the Panthers currently, and he was just traded like in the last year or two, I think, to there. So that one might be a little more recent, but that's definitely a name.
It's good to, if we're at least getting 6 names out there for all these, at least then we can go off the, okay, let's try and think lower. If not, we got this, Was Christopher Stieg on the Panthers and Bruins?
Now that's a name. That is a name. Sounds so right, too. Nathan Horton.
Was he a Panther?
Bruin and a Panther.
I like that.
He's from the 03 draft class, I think. So definitely it would be lower than Marchand. But
I agree.
Oh, dude. Tim Thomas. Didn't Tim Thomas play for the Panthers?
Oh.
I think he did.
I don't know for sure.
No, there's a picture of him with his
I feel like he'd weirdly be high though.
Dude, I don't know. I don't know.
I just had another big one coming to mind. Oh, Yager if we need him for Rangers, Panthers, or Bruins, Panthers.
Yeah. He's going to be high too, right?
Yeah, he'll be really high. Yeah.
He's going to be high, and Yager's going to be really high. So
I'm fine going Tim Thomas then.
Can you picture that same thing that I am, where his gear is just like...
I know he played somewhere else really weird after, but in my head I had it as being Dallas, but I have no clue why.
He did play at Dallas, because the picture is him with his Florida gear, but he's in a Dallas uniform. That's weird. That's why it looks so weird, because it's those two teams, and then it's Tim Thomas, who is known as a Bruin for his whole career.
I have a rule that we don't usually veto picks from guys that pull South Korean defensemen out of their ass for the bottom right corner. So I am all for Tim Thomas in the top right. Thomas Fleischmann. Bruin and Panther. Feel really good about that.
Thomas Fleischmann. Do it.
Was he a Bruin?
You just said you feel really good about it.
I felt fantastic about it. And then off you not immediately going, oh, yeah, I felt a lot less good about it.
Well, I don't know it, but if you know it, then I trust you.
I don't have the kind of...
You don't trust yourself right now. That's fine.
I don't have the reputation to put up the shots like that.
I'd
go Tim Thomas and just see one in.
My only worry now that I'm thinking about Tim Thomas is I wonder if that was ever like a preseason type situation.
Yeah. I mean, I still feel... Oh, was Noshik on the Panthers?
Thomas Noshik. Yep, that's the answer.
Okay.
Yep. Panther and Bruin.
He'll be lower, right?
Absolutely.
1%. Okay.
We've used him before too, so shame on us for not thinking of that earlier, but that's a good pull.
I gotta have a Golden Knight up in my head there.
No, that's good. That's a good play right there out of you.
Bruins, Canucks, Louis Eriksson.
He'll probably be pretty high if I had to guess.
Yeah.
That's certainly one. Do you want to throw Tyler Mott in there? I like that name from you off the rip earlier.
Do you think he's lowest, or he'll be lower?
I think Tyler Mott will be decently low, yeah. Or did Merrick Malik play for the Canucks, actually?
It's a hell of a question, Adam.
No, let's just do Tyler Mott.
Let's lock in Tyler Mott.
Yeah, I like that name.
There we go. I didn't think he'd be that low.
Trocheck would probably be the number one answer for the Rangers and Panthers if I had to guess.
Yeah. Another one Riley Smith would have worked. Shit!
Another Yager.
And another Yager.
We can still use... Oh, wait, yeah, we already used Riley Smith.
I always have these niche polls of Golden Knights or whatever players, and we always use them on the bottom row and not where it matters.
That's funny. It doesn't matter. I mean, we got 0.2 out of Riley Smith. I'm trying to think.
Who are we thinking of lower than Louis Eriksson for that right column?
I don't know if we had anybody for that one. You brought up Malcolm Subban. How funny that would be.
To quote Shannon Sharp, Skip.
I really want to find a
Vincent
nice.
Dom Foos on the Panthers.
No, he played for the Sharks.
Oh, gosh, I feel like there's. I feel like Cristobal Huey or not Cristobal Huey.
Jose Theodore.
No, I think I was thinking of Cristobal Huey. Actually, I was thinking maybe he played for one of those two teams. I don't know if he was a Canadian. Actually, the more I think about it, but top left, Nick Cousins.
I don't remember him being a Canadian. No.
Crap.
Let's just do Nico Mikkola for that one.
Okay.
I don't think it'll be that high. I think we've ruled out safely who the top guys will be here. Yeah, first one.
4%. That is more than fine.
Can live with that. So we need to get 23 or better, which means we've got 16 points across 3 guys to work with. So we've got to average a 5 across these. Oh, wait a second. Mike Hoffman.
For top left?
Yeah, Mike Hoffman.
%. Perfect.
Huge. All right. So now we get a little bit more. We just bought ourselves some space to work with on these last 2 guys. Who do we say for the right side? We've got Louis Erickson that we can use over there.
Yeah.
King Louis. All right. Bruins, Canucks, Louis Erickson. Who else fits that mold over there? Nikita Zadorov, also probably a little more recent, and I would bet higher than King Louis. I think we should take Louis Erickson here.
You think Louis will be third?
I think Lindholm and Zadorov are going to be higher because they recently with the Canucks. I really hope this doesn't screw us.
21, we're in play.
Damn, dude. Okay. Do you remember the name Vaclav Prospal?
I do not.
I think he was one of those guys on that plane that you're talking about. I think he was on that KHL.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, or Prospal, I think his name was.
I remember a Vinny Prospal.
Yeah, him too. Ooh, what about Manny Malhotra?
I thought about him. Shit, dude, I love that. I love it.
Manny Malhotra.
I love it. Fate of the universe on the line. Give me Adam.
Come on, baby. Let's go.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Dude, how about that? 22?
Are you serious?
You actually can't be serious about that. Coming off of 22, we're going to hit you next with the jersey of the week. Welcome back into Having Fun Hockey. Adam, a 22 on the Puckdoku, which means we have to go lower, which it's going to get hard to go lower eventually. What's the lowest we can go, do you think? If you peak, as long as we do this, what is the lowest Puckdoku we will ever get?
If we get a wide open grid, I think we can get under 10. I think we can get to like 9, but it's going to take a lot of the non-team categories.
I feel like we would need like a Pittsburgh, Vegas, random like playoff category or something like that.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. We need very little teams on there, or if we do have teams, it's got to be one of our 2 teams that we know very intimately.
Adam, we're coming off of one of the worst jerseys of all time for the jersey of the week. We debuted it with that oil drop. Coming back with Adam, I mean, I would be shocked if this is not one of your favorite hockey jerseys of all time, considering I believe, and I could be wrong with this, I think you have a hat with this logo on it.
Sure do.
Adam, when you look at some of the most beautiful pieces of artwork ever put out there, I mean, you think about a guy like Michelangelo who had to paint the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. That's got to take you a couple of years to do. How long do you think it took the fine people over there at the time Phoenix Coyotes to draw this bad boy up?
I don't know. There sure is an argument to be had about whether or not hockey belongs in Arizona, Jack, but whoever the jersey design folks are, whoever the graphic design department was doing their hiring for in Arizona, they had the right people out there. Whoever those folks are, we need to outsource the rest of the league's jersey creation to them, because my God, what a delightful piece of work to look at this is. I think my favorite part of the jersey outside of the logo is the collar of the jersey. Like, is that where you were going to?
That Adam, that is absolutely where I was going. I don't know. Is that why? Is that where you get the Kachina name from?
I have absolutely zero clue. Not a Scottsdale native, so I'm not exactly sure what the cultural significance of calling it the Kachina is. I don't know if that's something that's related to a particular coyote or if it's like a geographical type of thing. I have no idea, but it's a sick name though. Everybody knows about the
Oh
Kachina.
yeah, 100%.
Something about the name Kachina just like sticks and works.
And outside of like how great the sleeve and collar combo is, too, one thing I want to touch on in this jersey. I mean, like you got the you could spend an hour on this jersey. I mean, you got the ridiculous logo. I just think everything matches. Like the socks look good with this jersey too. I know you can't tell from this point of view. I am such a big fan of that green thrown in for the tertiary color on this jersey. Like, I mean, you get the maroon and like that. It looks good. Obviously, it's a team color. I'm such a big fan. I'm sure we'll get into this in summer or something when there's less hockey to talk about. I loved when the Dallas Stars had those like dark green, black, like if you're picturing Mike Modano in your head, like those era. I think that color scheme, maybe even not the logo, like the straight like Dallas and New York Times fonts across the front, like yeah, you could do better, I'm sure. That color scheme though, Adam, I think is one of the best in hockey history. I love that like hint of forest green you're getting out of the Kachina as well.
Yeah, I like maroon. Like I think maroon's just like a good color for the Coyotes, right? And so that you're right, that does work off it really well. The nice little like purple on the Coyotes jersey, the logo within the logo, if you will, that is maybe my favorite part. Just like the splash of purple in there, I think it works so well. But yeah, and I think also, Jack, the important thing about the Kachinas is that it works equally well with the white version of the jersey.
Yes, it does. And I believe they brought those back, right?
Yeah, that was some kind of reverse retro
Yeah, a couple of, yeah.
BS that the league made them do. That's a whole different conversation with how Fanatics and Adidas and whoever has had the jersey rights in the NHL over the last 7 or 8 years has tried to make every team in the league have 25 different jerseys when it's just there's no need for the Canadians or the Red Wings or the Bruins to have 25 different jerseys. They've had the same logos and jerseys forever for a reason. But
I mean, Adam, they had the Red Wings skating around in practice jerseys, basically.
yeah, they did. They absolutely did. But anyway, that's a different topic. Yeah, these though are just fantastic. The other thing that I think that makes them so iconic is I don't know how many people would really enjoy them the way that they do now if they didn't debut in the era where you had guys wearing leather Easton gloves like Jeremy Roenick and just kind of like that era of the equipment. I think that also makes the jerseys just that much cooler. So that's a good little point that I like to touch on with these two. I've got something for you actually.
Yeah.
I know that they're not affiliated. I know technically Utah is a new franchise now, but I don't know what kind of third jersey situation Utah's got going on. I think it would be really cool if they used kind of the outline of that and without using the Coyote logo, use that same kind of
Throw a little mammoth in there, some tusks on them.
that same like collar and sleeve design, but just make it baby blue and white. I think that you would have yourself a real fun jersey with those.
I think you would too. I remember I was a big fan, and I have one more question on the topic. Remind me if I get too into my own little world here. Massive fan of. Do you remember when the Jets, probably like 10 years ago now, almost did like a baby blue, just like script Jets across the chest? I was a massive fan of that jersey at the time, even though like that you didn't see them rock the baby blue ever a ton. You're not.
I'll be honest. I really like the baby blue colorway, but I didn't like those Jets uniforms. I thought they looked like baseball uniforms.
Dude, and that's baseball. I was a big fan of Adam. Last thing for you, got to always touch on it with the jersey of the week. So this is on the other. I think last week it was. Is there a worse Oilers jersey? Is there a better Coyotes jersey you have out there anywhere in your mind than the Kachina?
No, off the top of my dome, my Yed. I don't think so. They had one that I really liked their last year that they played in Arizona, Jack. If you remember, it was the all maroon with the cream color used for the font and whatnot, but they had the pants had the cactus on the leg. Those were really clean. I liked those ones a lot, but they're nowhere near the Kachina. No, those ones are absolutely the best.
As someone who just likes upsetting other people, I will say the other one I have to throw in there, the black Coyotes jersey, where it's like it looks like a dog running almost because you can't really differentiate a dog and a coyote. I think that's a really cool jersey. I know that jersey gets a lot of flack. I think it is unnecessary that jersey gets flack.
I think it's also just like a quintessential 2008 hockey.
Is it not? That's a great way to put it.
It's like that jersey would only be made by Reebok in 2008 is the only way that you can think of it.
Adam, switching it over into hockey talk. We got a lot to run down today as the races. I wouldn't even say heat up. I mean, they've been hot for a while now in the Eastern and Western Conference. We're going to go back to grade school here, Adam. I know you've been out of the school for a little bit. Me too. We're going to go true or false style for a couple of NHL questions before we give our picks for who we think will make it to the NHL playoffs this year and beyond. Adam, first one for you here. True or false? The East has 7 teams right now. I mean, talk about parity within your sport, first of all. 7 teams between 81 and 86 points right now. True or false? A team below this cutoff will make the playoffs out of the Eastern Conference.
I say false because there's one team in the East that's not in the playoff picture right now that I could see making a run, but they don't meet that criteria. They are at 81 points right now. They're not below it. So I say false because right now the best team that doesn't have 81 points, and that's 80 points, belongs to the Philadelphia Flyers, and that team is not playoff material. They are more worried about how fat Matvei Michkov is, not what their lineup's going to be come round 1, game 1. So I say false.
I actually thought they were at 8. Are they not at 81? Are they at 80?
Flyers are at 80 and the Senators are at 81.
Okay, so they are okay, yeah. So they're outside the cutoff then. So the question was 81 to 86 points, which would include the Flyers then out of the cutoff at 80. So you don't see the Flyers making a playoff run?
No, I don't. If there's a team that doesn't have 81 points as we speak today on Tuesday, March 23rd at 6:22 Eastern time, if they don't have 81 points, then they're not making it in my book.
As Lee Corso would say, Adam, not so fast, my friend. There's a chance still for the Philadelphia Flyers, a team who just swept a West Coast trip. And Adam, one real interesting thing about them, though, where I think you got to hold your horses. Obviously, you still got to look at the game counts. It's more than just baseball, where you have the same amount of games played every day, basically. You got to look at how many games this team have left, including it with the points wrapped up. Still 3 games to go against the Red Wings as well for the Flyers, which I think is very interesting. 2 of those also in Philly. Next one for you, Adam, and this is a guy who you talked about. Was it last week's show or 2 weeks show? 2 weeks ago at length about Nikita Kucherov.
I think it was last week I talked about him. Either way, we talked about him, and for good reason, because he's doing stuff that we haven't seen a player do since Mario Lemieux in the 1995-1996 season, which by my count is 3 decades ago.
He is not a bad hockey player, Adam. That can be for damn sure. True or false? Either Nikita Kucherov or Zach Werenski for the Hart Trophy and Norris, respectively, will steal an award away from the betting favorites at the moment, Nathan MacKinnon and Cale Makar.
See, it's interesting that you mention who the betting favorites are, because I don't know if it's so certain that Nate MacKinnon is like the shoe-in Hart guy right now. And I'm curious if you agree with me or not, but like, for me right now, I think that the Hart is between Kucherov because of how insane he's been recently and Macklin Celebrini, especially if the Sharks make the playoffs, because Celebrini has like a 50-point gap over the next highest scorer on his team, Will Smith. And if they make it into the playoffs, it would be very difficult for me to see the Hart not going to Celebrini, because he's going to end the year like top 5 in scoring. And like I say, he's got such a wide gap on his team. He fits the criteria of a player who is most valuable to his team. But on the other hand, it's how do you ignore what Kucherov is doing, because he's just a mutant right now. He's playing out of his mind. And come the end of the year, he might have a 50-point gap over his next highest teammate too, we might see some stuff from like the guy that they're all comparing him right now to statistically, Lemieux. you might have a guy on his team who has a 100-point season and is still 50 points behind him. It's very possible with Kucherov. He's out of his skull. It's insane. So
I was going to say, I think you brought up a great point too, Adam, on the Macklin Celebrini part of it, because that wasn't even a name that really popped in my head at the moment, despite how well he's doing this year. I think it's voter fatigue that becomes just I guess the voters in general, because it wouldn't be voter fatigue. He's a rookie. But when you look at guys like him in his position, so one, I mean, I don't think the Sharks are going to make it in the West. So I guess that's why I didn't have him up there. I think they've been kind of leaking oil a little bit over the last couple of weeks. But I think it's just the way voters do it is so wrong. Like the media, they don't always go for the guy who is most valuable, because I think you're so right. MVP, yeah, if they make the playoffs, you're checking off every single box. They don't get there without him. I bring up Jose Ramirez in baseball. If you took Jose Ramirez off of Cleveland at any point in the last 13 years, they're a 70-win baseball team. He has 0 MVPs to show for it, despite the fact he's gotten the team to the playoffs a million times. I think Macklin you might be in a spot where a year or two down the line, that's your betting favorite coming into the season. But I just think if they don't ultimately make the playoffs, it'll be so hard for them to ultimately flip and do it and give it to Macklin. But I think your reasoning on Kucherov is ridiculous too. How often is it? And you brought up an incredible point where you see you're in a world where a guy might have 100 points in an NHL season, which is well beyond the standard. I mean, there are guys who can get double-digit sheets for doing a whole lot less than that, Adam, to be 50 points behind the team leader. You got to be considering Nikita Kucherov. And as you said too, the pace he's on is just nuts. You don't see it in the NHL. I wish I had the name, but I saw a tweet out there today, what Kucherov is doing right now, there's a chance that this is the closest thing you would see in the modern game to what Wayne Gretzky could do.
Yeah. So like you said, I agree with you for all the same reasons, where it's a tougher decision if the Sharks make the playoffs. If the Sharks don't make the playoffs, I think that it's Kucherov for me, 100%. If the Sharks make the playoffs, then it becomes more of a coin flip. Now, you also asked about the Norris Trophy. That one I can give you a definitive not Cale Makar this year. Not that Cale Makar is not doing Cale Makar things, but I think Werenski's outpacing him in points right now, which we know is a factor when it comes to Norris voting, whether or not people think it should be. But I mean, Werenski, the fact that the Blue Jackets are now in a playoff spot, and it looks like they might be able to hold on to that. If they can make it in, he's a horse for those guys. He plays so often. If he continues to outpace Makar in points, then I think that he can get it. Quinn Hughes is an interesting situation. I think that, as weird as it might sound, the trade might work against him this year, because he's played so phenomenal. He's played so phenomenal in Minnesota, but it's almost like he just hasn't spent enough time there yet because of all those games he played with Vancouver towards the beginning of the year, where otherwise he may have, had more of a spotlight on him. And also in a weird way, being on a better team sometimes I think also takes away from that too. And Kucherov, for example, right? There's probably been years where Kucherov feels that he should have won the Hart. I think it was just last year. He had 144 points and he didn't win the Hart last year. It was Hellebuck won the Hart last year, but you put up 144 points in a season and you don't win the Hart. That kind of thing can happen where you're just on such a good team that people overlook that. So that, for those reasons, I think that Werenski comes to the top in my mind. I'm just trying to figure out how the voters will vote and get inside their heads. I don't know. It's a good problem to have when you're
Adam. I think absolutely you nailed the head on, or hit the nail on the head. I talk for a living. Once again, when it comes to the Norris race, I mean, that's the thing about Zach Werenski too, is obviously I think they got skunked 1-0 last night or something. I think Sorokin might have just had a Ilya Sorokin type of performance, but this is the one where it's voter fatigue, where I think that you like seeing new names, you like seeing fresh guys towards the top of the mountain. And I think also what you said about Quinn Hughes is so true too. Anytime where you get jettisoned mid-year and then also, okay, I have to go travel halfway across the world and play another 6 hockey games over here. And then, okay, I'm finally back in Minnesota. And I was only here for a month and a half before. It's tough to find your footing, and that's how you can fall out of a race like this. But what you're seeing in Columbus is so cool too, because of how bad that hockey community needs it. I mean, last year was last year, I think they weren't even close to talent-wise ready to be there. And I think just like all the emotion, everything that went into everything with Johnny Hockey, like I think that kind of propelled them, and you end up being, I think it was 1 point short of a playoff spot or something like that. Like this year, like, okay, hey, like we got our guns now ready to go, and still like you end up firing your coach. Like half the young guys can't like, get in the lineup, even still to this day. It's kind of like what's going on in Vegas a little bit, where it's just a constant internet battle of the fans of like, do you play the youngsters or do you play the vets you brought in to kind of shore up a playoff spot a little bit? You know, like that's that debate going on there. But dude, I think Werenski is totally deserving. And you, well, like you said too, it's like he's almost like an MVP type case, but for the Blue Jackets in a way. It's like if you take Zach Werenski off the blue line, like that team is nowhere near where they are right now. And obviously he should be a Norris consideration. Adam, moving it to a guy who has his fair share of awards on the shelves, that would be Alexander Ovechkin. When I saw this morning that Ovechkin got to 1,000 career goals, I had to do like the Mr. Krabs, like take the eyes out and polish them off and put them back in, because it said he tied Crosby. I was like, wait, Crosby doesn't have 1,000 goals, but it is including the playoffs. Adam, true or false? Alex Ovechkin is the greatest goal scorer we will ever see.
In our lifetime.
In our life, yeah. I with our physical eyes, we will ever see it.
In our lifetime, yes. It's hard to imagine that we will ever see another guy score 1,000 combined goals between regular season and playoffs. And you know, he's the only guy with over 900 in the regular season now, which is just banana lands. So, I mean, how can you say no? Like, people before us didn't see this many goal numbers. So, no disrespect to a guy who was our DB of the day last week, Mike Bossy, who was just a prolific goal scorer in his own right, but we didn't get to watch Mike Bossy, and Mike Bossy doesn't have the durability of Ovechkin. I think that's the biggest difference, Jack, is I don't know. We might see guys who are more pure goal scorers. There is the chance that could happen, because I think Mike Bossy is the example of a guy who is just an unbelievable pure goal scorer. But the durability of Ovechkin, I don't think he's missed. I think this is, again, off the top of my dome. People can fact check me on this, all four of our listeners. But I think he's missed 35 regular season games in his career, which is insane. Insane. And when you're playing full 82 game schedules every year, that's crazy to me. So that's a long way of saying that he's the best that I think we'll ever see.
Well, I think that you brought up a great point along the way to get there, Adam. And that's the fact that the way that hockey's like played has just changed so much, even in the last like 10 to 15 years. Like I think like even just like development, like across the, like not just the country, obviously, but like guys are trained to be so much more like skill players these days. Like if you look at like some of the not as good like high school hockey players of the day right now, like they have hands that half the kids on varsity or travel teams didn't 10, 15 years ago. It's just like the way that they were taught, like the individual style of the game from such a young age. But I do think that while the skill has risen with that, like I do think that not that you really have prototypes in real life as much, but like just your straight like goal scorers aren't a thing as much anymore. Like I feel like everyone is like inherently like a really good playmaker who can score a couple of goals themselves. Like even like at the NHL level, like how many guys can you really name who have come in the league even in the last like 8 years and you're like, okay, like that guy's a goal scorer and nothing else. Like, and not even just nothing else. Like it wouldn't be fair to say Austin Matthews is a nothing else kind of guy, but like how many even Austin Matthews guys are there where it's like, okay, like we're expecting this guy to Dennis Potvin 60 in the back of the net every year, and then I don't know what else we're gonna get from him. You don't get that anymore.
I'll give you the answer to that, Jack. It's the smart ones, because like you said, everybody's got skill now, but it's the smart players that score more, which is why I think the most current example that we see right now probably is like a Macklin Celebrini, why he's been able to have such an immediate impact. Like there's when you just take a look at Macklin Celebrini, if you throw him on the ice with a lot of other guys in the NHL, his shot is probably on par with a good number of other guys, but his goal totals below those other dudes out of the water, just because he's a smart player. That's the problem now is not enough people know how to separate themselves in terms of their hockey IQ whenever everybody's on the same skill level as them. I think that's probably why you're seeing Bedard start to kind of feel more comfortable now, because he, of course, is a guy that's been very gifted with his shot coming up through, minor hockey, junior, and then, you get to the NHL and all of a sudden defensemen know how to gap up on you, and you just don't have the time and space that you're used to be able to take 2 steps over the blue line and then do your toe drag release like you did whenever you played in Saskatchewan on a Saturday night, whenever he was playing for Regina. But now, like, he's starting to figure it out a little bit, and you can see it happening on the ice. He's just mentally he's getting it now, right? Like, how do I put myself in the right spots to do this? And so that's where guys are going to have to separate themselves. It's kind of always been that way, probably, maybe to a lesser degree, but now I think it's more important than ever. I think that's the one thing that you can't teach kids enough now when they're coming up, is just the hockey IQ, because like you said, everybody can do the same stuff. Everybody can go to their skills session at 6:00 in the morning on Saturday and pay a private trainer $500 so that they can stick handle around a glorified traffic cones out there with all these new contraptions that they sell for these kids. But like, when it's actually time for the game and you've got other guys out there with you, do you know how to be effective with that? So yeah, it's a new era of hockey a little bit, but it's a good thing too.
Shout out to all 7 LA Kings fans out there. This question is for you, Adam. True or false? The Central Division will get 5 playoff teams this year.
That would be if we're looking for the Predators to get in, right? Because right now the Predators are fighting with the Kings, like you said. They're also fighting with the Sharks. And so that's a tough one, man. That's a tough one. Pardon me for 1 second. I'm going to lower my eyes so that I can look at the standings right now, because I want to take a hard look at these teams.
Absolutely.
Man, and the Pacific Division also has the Seattle Kraken right in the mix too. I forgot about them off the top of my head. Man, the Predators hold serve right now there too, though, which is tough.
Winners of 4 in a row too.
Yeah, man, they're hot. They've got, what's their goal differential? -23. All these teams have terrible goal differential.
Yeah, none of these teams are.
They're all bad, eh? I'll say yes. I think that the Central will have 5 playoff teams, just because the Pacific Division has been so god awful, especially recently. And like you could argue that the playoffs have started already. The playoffs have been underway for the last week and a half, 2 weeks for probably every team that we're talking about in the mix right now, that for that wild card 2 spot in the Western Conference. Though there's no room for error right now, basically, and all the Pacific Division can seem to do is lose. So I'm going to just, not even saying that the Predators are a spectacular team and maybe even necessarily worthy of being in the playoffs, but I just can't in my right mind pick a Pacific Division team right now because they're so terrible. So I'll say the Preds make it in. Central Division has 5.
Yeah, I'm on the same boat with you. I am riding the Predators, fellas, all the way into the playoffs. We'll get some playoff hockey down there on Broadway.
Yeah.
I think we can talk about this closer to playoff time, but Adam, one of the best atmospheres in all of playoff hockey do they have down there in Bridgestone Arena, staying out in the West before we hit our playoff predictions. So this is excluding all Pacific Division matchups. So obviously you're going to have a series between 2 Pacific Division teams. They're going to have to win games against each other. That's just math. Someone's got to come win with those. In non-Pacific versus Pacific NHL playoff games this year, true or false, the Pacific Division will win 10 playoff games.
Pacific Division versus anybody, you're saying?
So this is whether that be
division.
So this could be the 1 seed in the first round against wild card 2 out of the Central, and then it would be
the next round after that.
Theoretically, if that team wins, and then the winner of the Pacific versus Pacific 2 and 3.
Yeah, I'll take the under on that. Sure.
Firm under?
I'll take the under on, what was it, 10.5 is the number?
10.5, yeah.
Yeah, let's remember that too. Let's make a note of that so we can revisit that.
Do you want to do 9.5 or 10.5?
You said 10.5. I'll take the under either way.
Okay.
We'll make the number 10.5. We'll make the number 10.5 officially. But just know that if it was 9.5, I would also take the under on that. Because right now, let's see.
Oh, that might be double flawed logic, though, the more I think about it. Because wouldn't the winner play – it'd be another Pacific Division battle in the next round. So let's okay. I'll give you this then instead. All playoff games. There's nothing thrown out at all, right? Every single playoff game. The Pacific Division will win 16 playoff games. 15 and a half. Over under.
You're saying all games?
All games.
Well, so there's going to have to be the Pacific Division matchup in round 1, which right now would be Vegas and Edmonton.
Yeah.
So we're if that goes 7 games, then that's 7 wins right there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The Ducks would right now play like the Predators. So and you said 15 and a half is the number?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take the under again.
Okay, I think I'm gonna go over on it. I think you're getting Anaheim's giving you 4 in the first round, right?
Anaheim right now looks like they're going to win the Pacific, and
I'm saying they win.
They'll get the first wild card. I don't think Anaheim wins the series.
Who would it be? Utah then?
Utah. I don't think they win that series.
It might not be a 15 and a half year.
I don't think that.
I'll give you the devil's advocate. Ducks win that series. You're at 4.
Yep.
Then
you could have a max 7.
There's never been a 7-game series between Vegas and Edmonton, I don't think. So I'm going to go 6.
But that's theoretically, though, you can have a maximum of 7 there.
Yeah. I'm going to go with 10, though.
So that gives you a maximum of 11 after the first round that you can have. The number's 15 and a half.
So I would need one of them to get to the conference. So basically,
this matches my logic.
Do you think a Pacific Division team can get to the conference finals?
I was going to say this number, the line that we have it at, matches my logic and why I'm taking the under, because I don't think any Pacific Division team lasts beyond round 2.
Okay, so this is a good line now for the playoffs because I'm taking the over for the Chin-Cific. It's because, Adam, all year long they've just been taking naps, hanging out, just as Connor McDavid put it, just a little pillow fight, just hanging out, trying to get in the playoffs. Then you're rested, you get all your guys back off the LTIR, and then you go, right?
No, they're just bad. They're all bad. I'll tell you the one stat that I look at for all these teams is what their goal differential is on the season. I think that's a pretty good indicator of over the course of the season, how you're playing
every game. Yeah.
On a night-to-night basis. Like, where is that number at? The Ducks, who are in first place, have a -7 goal differential on the year. Vegas has a +3. Edmonton has a +1. And then
everyone else is negative, right?
You start getting down into, I'm just going to go into the wild card teams, right? So Utah, right? Utah would play Anaheim in the first round right now if the playoffs started today. Utah's goal differential is +25. Okay? It dwarfs every other team we've just mentioned. The Predators, who are in wild card 2 right now, -23 goal differential. The Kings, -26. Kraken, -17. The Sharks, -35. All these teams are negative. And then you've got Utah thrown in there, the lone Central Division outside of the Predators, who are also in the Central. But +25, I can't see a world where any of these teams from the Pacific go all the way to the conference final. I just don't think it can be done. I know McDavid has willed the Oilers there a couple times, but I think that ship has sailed, at least for this year. And Dion's all banged up right now. I don't see it happening. Good line.
I've said it to you before, but being a fan of a Pacific Division, AL Central, and AFC North fan base gives me the most, I get to be a part of the hood in every single sport. It's just you get the best matchups, the wildest stuff, the worst team standing wise. Division winners always one game above 500. You just can't beat what the divisions I have in my life. Adam, it's time to go though. East and Western Conference playoff predictions. You can give the locks too, but yeah. So just give me if the season ended today, we know who would be in actually. If you're projecting the rest of the season here on out until we get into April and start the NHL playoffs, give me your wild card / who you're going to shore up. Who's going to the playoffs? I guess that is just the best way to say it, Adam.
Yeah, I'll start we'll start in the West because we were just talking.
Yeah, go West and throw it to me, and then we'll hit the East after we go through the West.
Okay, so I'm going to start in the West. All the Central Division teams that are 1, 2, 3 right now are obviously going to make it in. Colorado and Dallas have already officially clinched. Minnesota will clinch. The Ducks are probably going to win the Pacific at this rate, so I'd say they're in. Vegas, even though they're limping right now and they don't really look impressive, the fact that they hold a playoff spot right now makes me think that they'll also get in. Even the Oilers, like as terrible as I think the Oilers are, and was saying that they would be at the beginning of the year, and I'm now feeling very vindicated in how terrible they are playing. I still think that McDavid will find a way to at least get them into the dance, no matter what happens after that. Utah is a shoo-in for me just because of the fact that they would be challenging for first place in the Pacific Division right now if they actually did play there. So that one is wildcard 1 for me. And then, like we had just talked about, I took the Predators to make it is the wildcard 2 because in my right mind, I cannot pick a Pacific Division team. So that's what I got in the Western Conference, Jack.
Adam, I think you nailed on the head with the 8 playoff teams. I'm actually not going to make one switch off of what you did. I love the thoughts on the Central Division. One thing I'm going to throw at you, though, just to spice it up a little bit. One team we didn't talk about at all that is sitting around a similar point count, point total. The games played, or I guess the games remaining, rather, do not play in this squad's favor. But I feel like it'd be wrong to not mention the Winnipeg Jets. Obviously, I mean, if they get in, and I know the goaltending hasn't always been great for them this year, despite how great Connor Hellebuyck was and winning the MVP last year and shit, and how great he was in the Olympics. That's a guy who, if you get in, it's like, hey, you never know if he's behind you. I kind of think of like the one year where the Avalanche had like the crazy dominant regular season. They ran into an 8-seed Blues team with Binnington, who ultimately lost the series, and maybe even 6, I want to say. But like the Blues hung in it ultimately up until Nazem Kadri took off Binnington's head just because they had good goaltending. Adam, little chance Winnipeg gets in, but do you, 1, see any chance where they could get in? And 2, do they have any High Point University basketball Cinderella to you?
They could. It's definitely not out of the question. They, of course, benefit from the fact that it's so weak in the West right now. It's just that with this many games left and everybody's got such busy schedules, it's like, how much can Hellebuyck play? Because he normally plays a lot of games for them anyway. But in a season like this that's condensed with the Olympics, and also considering the physical and mental fatigue that he's probably still trying to recover from being the guy at the Olympics for the U.S., I just wonder if he can hold up long enough for them to kind of ride his play in. And even at that, I just don't think that they have the depth, honestly. They don't score enough. They haven't been scoring enough. They've got good top-end talent, but it just kind of has fallen apart from that. Like you look at their lineup and they've got Scheifele and they've got Kyle Connor and they've got Gabe Velarde. Those guys come to mind at the top. But other than that, Hellebuyck might play great, but they might not just be able to sustain enough scoring to help them. So the fact that they're already 5 points behind the Predators makes me stick with the Predators, but I wouldn't be shocked if Winnipeg, when we look at it at the end of all this, is the first team out in the West.
They're the most like Memphis Grizzlies type of organization to me. And I used to always say Indiana Pacers for this comparison up until last year where the Pacers made the finals, so I can't do it anymore. But I just feel like the Jets go through these like swings of like, and then they're down this year, but like they never truly bottom out. They've made a conference finals in the last 10 years. So like they never truly like hit the top either. They're always in, I mean, like Adam, I feel like there is quite literally every single offseason, there is a time and a day on 32 Thoughts where we get into the sound the alarm. The Jets are finally blowing it up. This guy's moving out of town. We're finally going to trade this guy, like whatever. Like they're just stuck. They're just in the worst spot in all the sports, in my opinion. I feel like they just are never, they're capped between being the 5th and 25th best team in the league at all given times, I feel.
They won the President's Trophy last year, which is the weirdest thing, right? Like they were the best team in the regular season last year.
But then it doesn't do anything. Like,
yeah, the playoffs, the playoff performance is different, but like being able to get into the playoffs, I feel like they've been pretty consistent at that in recent years, at least. But yeah, like they've got a good core. It's just they got to figure out how they surround that, because like Hellebuck and Scheifele are both locked up right now. Josh Morrissey's phenomenal. They got him under
He's
contract.
ridiculous.
They got him under contract, and then Kyle Connor just signed an extension too with them this year. So they've got the guys, but it's like I said, I don't know if they've got the people around them performing enough. Like, did anybody really think that like Jonathan Taves was going to be 2013 Jonathan Taves?
No.
They signed him for this year. No, it's stuff like that I think that's kind of holding them back right now, if I'm being honest. But yeah, they could be the first team out. I wouldn't be surprised if they made it because of how bad everybody is in the West. But I'm not picking them personally. Not picking them.
So the bottom line is, if the Winnipeg Jets do reach the playoffs, it is an absolute war of attrition out of the Western Conference. So that is the only way those fellows are making it. Mm-hmm. Adam, there's a lot of good hockey teams in the Eastern Conference, though, and unlike the Western Conference, we might need to just go like college football, just bring in the top 16. Just do a little committee get together, because there are not enough spots in the Eastern Conference for the amount of good teams competing for playoff spots at the moment. Adam, I mean, this is like asking you to pick a needle out of a haystack, to shoot a fish in a barrel, insert whatever metaphor you like. Who are the 8 teams that are going to end up in the playoffs in the Eastern Conference of the National Hockey League?
It's so tough to say. I feel like there's only like 3 teams that you can truly lock in with confidence right now. And, buckle up. Number 1 is the Buffalo Sabres. The Buffalo Sabres. Good for them. We talked about the Sabres a couple weeks ago. This is going to be phenomenal whenever we get the introduction into the KeyBank Center for round 1, game 1 on national television, the playoffs there. That is a team that is going to make the playoffs. I'm going to go out there and say the Sabres are going to make it. Same with the Carolina Hurricanes. The Carolina Hurricanes are going to make the playoffs. And I think the third team that I throw in there is the Tampa Bay Lightning. I don't see them slowing down as we approach the end of the season with Kucherov on a madman tear that he's playing at right now. So that's 2 teams from the Atlantic, Jack, and 1 team from the Metropolitan. By definition, we've got to pick 1 more team from the Atlantic and 2 more teams from the Metropolitan that are going to make it in. This is where things get really difficult, because even though some of these teams are in a divisional playoff spot, they're still at risk of being caught by these teams that are playing in the wild card race. Ask the New York Islanders that. The New York Islanders were 3rd in the Metropolitan Division, and suddenly the Blue Jackets have usurped them, taken that position, and momentarily before they won last night, the Islanders were on the outside of the playoff picture looking in. I think it hurts me to say this, but I don't think that the Detroit Red Wings are going to make it in. They were kind of hanging around in the top of the Atlantic for a while, and they've slowly kind of just fizzled out. They have not had a good March, and Dylan Larkin is hurt right now. And I think that player in particular hurts them a ton to not have. So I don't know if the Red Wings are going to make it in. The Senators, I said, were a team that I could see them taking a run. And I think that the team that doesn't make it in, if the Senators do make it, is the Islanders. Because, again, I go back to that goal differential stat that I like, because I think it's a good indicator. So I think and this team is so hot right now too, is the Canadiens. I think the Canadiens, Jack, are playing with a belief that they can make the playoffs because they did it last year. I think that helps them so much compared to some of these other teams that are trying to fight around that wild card area and make it in. And like the Bruins, I know some of those guys on the Bruins have been there before, but I think the Canadiens, one way or another, are going to make it in. But for now, I'll just say that the Canadiens are going to be my wild card 1 team. I think the Bruins, because this always happens to the people of Boston with horseshoes up their ass, that their teams are unbelievable. I think that Boston will get to 3rd in the Atlantic by the end of the year. A guy that we probably could have mentioned in the Hart conversation a little bit is David Pastrnak. He quietly has great years every year. He has certainly done that this year. But I think they'll be 3. So here's my definitive now list for you, since I've talked it out.
Gotta talk it out.
Sabres, Lightning, Bruins from the Atlantic. I've got Hurricanes, and then honestly, I'll probably, with the way they're playing right now, I'll put the Blue Jackets second in the Metro. I'll put the Penguins third in the Metro, and then I think it's Montreal in the first wild card, and I think Ottawa might get in at wild card too, which would leave the Islanders and the Red Wings on the outside looking in.
Adam, we are different this time, which is good to note. It's good to not always have perfect harmony with our picks. I actually line up with you perfectly for where I'm going to go with the Atlantic. I like the 3 teams you picked out there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to switch you up in the Metro, though, Adam. That's where I get a little bit different from you. Going to take the Canes. I'm going to take your Pittsburgh Penguins to get in as well with a divisional spot. But after them, I am going to go with the New York Islanders. I just think they're one of those things that have been such a fun story all year. When you talk about belief in yourself, like I think that's a team who highlights it perfectly. Like what they've done, like really from the start, like just like the juice, I guess, that Schaefer has like just put into that organization. Like we haven't really seen that from them in a while. And I don't know, like I just like this isn't like a great here's the analyst, perfect why, blah blah blah. But they're just a team of vibes. Like every single time I look up, I see the Islanders winning a game in overtime and everyone like dogpiling onto the friggin' ice like it's the semifinal in 1980. Like there's a fun team and they have good vibes. And I'm just like, I always view the Blue Jackets as like always the bridesmaid, never the bride. I just feel like they get so close every single time and fall off at the end. I'm not totally in love with their goaltending. They've done a lot to improve up front, but like I don't know. I don't really. If you're giving me like which of the 2 vibes teams over there in the Metro are gonna ease it out to get that third, I'm taking the Islanders. I thought you gave great reasoning for the Red Wings too. Like I was gonna go down the same avenue. Without Larkin, things get a lot more difficult, and I guess patchy as you kind of approach the playoffs. I love the Bruins for the experience to get in as well. And then I'm going to go Canadians and Senators as my 2 wild cards. So I guess that's where my switch up is from your list. So the Islanders would have been the team I had in that you did not have in, correct?
Yeah. And that's good reasoning too for the Islanders. I like that. We just have
fun, they're fun.
You're betting on the vibes that they've had all year long.
And they got, and I do think, not to cut you off, Adam, I do think there is, at least with getting into the playoffs, not like once you're in, I feel like there's a little like, okay, like, I don't know if you've seen Major League before, but like they have to hit a certain win total to keep the team in town. And like the owner of the team is a female is probably not a great story, but they rip off one article of her clothing with every single win, like to keep the team in town. Right. Like, I feel like that, like when you're in this spot and you're just looking up, like bam, 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 like finally the Blue Jackets get there, right? Like, okay, hey, we're in the top 3 now. Like, switch the tables. Then the Islanders go out there, like you're like, hey, like we're built off goaltending. We're predicated on we're going to shut you down. Hey, we just friggin' did it to you. We beat you. Now, like, hey, we take that point back from you. Like, I just think it's one of those things where like that win last night or however many nights ago it was when we get this published, like I think that does numbers for the Islanders moving forward. Like I really do believe in that squad making the playoffs at least.
That's a good point.
And goaltending. It's hard to not believe in goaltending.
They do have the goaltending. Sorokin is one of those guys. I think he's got 7 shutouts on the year now, which is crazy. He seems like one of those guys that can just, like he did last night on Sunday night. He can just take over games if he decides to. And I mean, Jack Reeves and Merzlikins have been a very serviceable duo for Blue Jackets, but neither one of those guys individually is at the level that Sorokin is. So, yeah, that's not a bad take, Jack. Honestly, I agree with you that one of those teams, I think we can agree one of those 2 teams are going to make it in.
Yes.
It doesn't really make a difference. I'd be just as happy with either of those teams making it in. They both have good storylines too.
Yeah. So let me ask you this then, Adam, before we hit a couple other things and get on out of here. Are we in a year where we're going to see both conferences have a division with 5 playoff teams? Because if our theories hold true from what we just said, we're also looking at 5 out of the Atlantic, no?
Yeah, the Atlantic is a very good division this year. The Atlantic, like Sabres, Lightning, Canadians, Bruins, it's going to take one of the Red Wings or the Senators to get in to make that happen, though. So this is where things get so dicey, man. It's just so tight right now. How do you say that? Because
Do you feel crazy though if you have you almost have like the double sip, the double elimination, where like you have that insurance policy of maybe the Red Wings can back their way in at the final moment and do just enough. Like you have a double chance almost of the Sens rising and the Wings just holding on for dear life.
Yeah, I kind of I'd bet on that probably. I would lean towards there being 5 Atlantic teams, but it's not by that much.
Adam, another thing to hit on before we get off to the Hockey DB of the week and talk about a few more things and get you guys on out of here. It's like Clemson, Alabama from the 2010s. Ohio State and Wisconsin women's hockey, like if there's a preseason bet on those two teams squaring off for the national championship, it's got to be like minus 500 at this point. This was 4 years in a row now, I believe. Wisconsin, I believe the winners of 3 of those 4 matchups against Ohio State. They got it done over the weekend. Caroline Harvey, talk about like we joked about like the run Quinn Hughes is on, right? Like the crazy start to the regular season. You get like the blockbuster Luka Doncic trade before the deadline. You go to the Olympics, you score that massive goal, and was it the semis against Sweden to move you on to the championship? Like quarter? Oh wow! Like, oh yeah, who do we played like a throwaway game in Rochester for the semifinal? I forgot.
Yeah,
who was it?
On Slovakia's name. It's not a throwaway game.
Yeah, close enough. But regardless, like Quinn Hughes, like ridiculous year across the board. Caroline Harvey now takes home the so scores the game-winning goal in the Olympic gold medal game, wins the Olympic MVP. Or no, yeah, she did, right? No, the defenseman did. The defenseman did. I'm an idiot. What was the defenseman's name?
Megan Keller did, but
Keller.
Caroline Harvey was named the MVP at the Olympics.
Yeah, so Olympic MVP, just won, I believe not the playoff MVP, but basically the Heisman Trophy of women's hockey, and Wisconsin takes home the national championship. Just a good year for the kid.
Yeah, I believe you're looking for the Patty Kazmar Player of the Year award.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, not many people are going to have a better couple months, really. You could call it a year, but really it's a couple months that Caroline Harvey's having. She wins another national championship in her last year at Wisconsin here. MVP of the Olympics, Olympic gold there. She gets the Patty Kazmar award, and she will most certainly be the number 1 overall pick in the PWHL draft whenever she goes to that, whenever they hold that event after the end of this season and everything. So yeah, it's one of those things where she probably looks around and is like, what the hell do I do after this? Like, I don't know if it can get much better for her at this point. She's going to have to wait like another 4 years before she can feel this good again, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, her and actually her teammate at Wisconsin, Layla Edwards, was the
Cleveland native, baby.
Yeah, Cleveland native Layla Edwards. They also, they get it done together there and the Olympics. Layla Edwards was the player for the women's team who threw that little sifter through traffic that Hillary tipped in. I didn't know this. Layla Edwards was playing right wing for them in their collegiate playoffs and everything right now. So I guess
after playing D,
I guess that she can go a little Brent Burns mode and kind of activate up the wing. Maybe like even another guy I think of too is Dustin Byfuglien.
Yeah, Dustin Byfuglien, a legend of the two-way.
Yeah, man, like that's impressive. That's impressive stuff. And like it kind of backwards to me, right? Like you would think that somebody would feel more comfortable on the Olympic stage playing up at forward rather than playing back on defense if they played both. But instead, it was the opposite way for her. They must just have an unreal blue line in Wisconsin where they just don't need her. And like, go ahead and act like Dustin Byfuglien and play wing up there for us. So yeah, because I was seeing highlights where she's down low, she's scoring goals down low and stuff. She has a cannon of a one-timer too.
Yes.
I was seeing her score in the Frozen Four matchup before they ended up going on to play Ohio State. She's just ripping one-timers from the Ovechkin's office. Like those are some good players. But to bring it back to Caroline Harvey, she is the number 1 for certain, and she skates unreal. Her skating is out of this world. She would dust me at any kind of level. She's probably a better skater at 12 than I was at 12. And that's not because I started playing hockey like a year before that. But I mean, yeah, she's unreal. So good for Caroline Harvey. I'm glad you brought that up because I actually did watch a little bit of their face off against Ohio State there.
I think they've had they didn't this year, but there was almost a penalty shot in back-to-back years, right?
Oh yeah, that was all drama. That what was it? They tied it on a penalty shot with only seconds left in regulation last year, and then they won it in overtime. There's also another girl, Jack, on Wisconsin, Lacey Eden, first girl to ever win 4 national titles in her collegiate career. She's won 4 natties with Wisconsin.
You're the Wilt Chamberlain of collegiate women's hockey. I mean, the Bill Russell. I know that's wild.
I hope I don't get this wrong, but I think it's like 2021, 2023, and then the last 2 years, 25 and 26, Wisconsin has won, and she's been on all those teams.
Coached for taking the grad year too.
Yeah, coached by Mark Johnson as well.
Yeah, I believe a part of the final call yesterday was "It's a great day for hockey." The broadcast booth, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Adam, should we hit a HockeyDB of the week? I feel like we have. If there's one segment that they weren't jarring from us on a shortened week, it was this.
Been glazing this guy, but got to take a look at his numbers. Nikita Kucherov out of Maykop, Russia, 32 years of age. Jack, I apologize if I said this on the recording previously, but I know I've said this before. Nikita Kucherov to me strikes me as the exact type of guy from Russia that could be 34 or 35 years old right now and is only listed on all of his documentation as being 32 years old.
Yeah, you've not said that yet on today's episode, but Adam, getting a quick look-see daisy at Nikita Kucherov, I absolutely have to think he is no younger than 40 years old.
Dude, I mean, he's on some.
Is he not Ovechkin's age?
He's 32.
No, he's got to be.
He's 32. The guy is unreal.
Imagine being. So he was on the CSKA Red Army junior team, right? Yeah. Imagine being on the CSKA Blue Army junior team, and you're just like inner squad. And Nikita Kucherov is 5 years older than you, and he has 7 points through the first period. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's probably exactly what was going on. If you just want to scroll down a little bit, there we go. That's good. He's got silly numbers. I think we know what he's been doing in the NHL, but sometimes I like to go back and look at like his junior numbers a little bit too, because again, with what you were talking about over in Russia, I imagine the same thing happening in the QMJHL a little bit, right? Like this guy comes over for a cup of coffee of 33 regular season games in the Q and has 63 points, almost a goal a game there with the Huskies, 26 goals in 27 games. Like I can imagine a 16-year-old kid from like, Quebec, wherever in Quebec, he barely has hair on his chin. And Nikita Kucherov is like 20 years old saying that he's 18 playing for these guys in the Q.
Well, I was going to say, Adam, the only way that the Quebec Remparts are trading him after a 10-point start through 6 games is if they're like, hey, this guy's not 18. Like if we want to compete for the Memorial Cup, like we're gonna have to get rid of this guy. Like this is an IM12 situation from Benchwarmers.
Yeah, man, exactly. But man, shout out Nikita Kucherov. This guy puts up video game numbers, and it feels like we've only heard about him like recently, but he's been damn good his entire career. He started in Syracuse, and they quickly found out that he had no business being in upstate New York. 24 points in 17 games. They got him the hell out of there real quick. And then, like, for your rookie season, like, that's not bad whatsoever, man. It's the National Hockey League. I don't care how many years older you are than you say you actually are coming from Russia. I mean, 18 points in 52 games. It's a new environment, whatever. But then after that, man, like 29 goals, I'm happy to call that a 30-goal season effectively. that's your first full NHL season, technically your second year in the league, but like guy's been a 30-goal scorer every single year. He missed the entire regular season in the second year that they went back to back there, which you can see, and just comes out and has 32 points in 23 playoff games.
People act like that's easy too. Like I guess that's one little soapbox I'll go on for a moment. Adam is a Vegas fan, is like, oh, like they're going to take Mark Stone out of the lineup for 30 games. Like, one, it's not easy for a team to win when they have those guys out of the lineup. And two, like, you can't just expect a guy to not play hockey for 9 months and then come back and like to put up those numbers. It's ridiculous. I mean, Adam, if you look back to 2016, 2017, you're looking at basically 9 straight years now of being not even just a point per game player, like being well over a point per game player. Like, obviously there's a couple of shortened seasons in there. So like if you're just filing your eyes down the point column, you might see a 69 in there or a 66. I mean, actually that was one of his younger years, but like it's ridiculous what this guy has done. And like also, if you look at that 2021 to now stretch where you're like well over a point per game with that 69 and 47, and 113, 144, 121 and counting, like or no, sorry, that was last year, 121 last year, and then this year you're going to go another 100 plus a year. Like, it is just ridiculous to see a guy hit this from 28 to 32, Adam. Like, I understand that like your prime is supposed to start at age 26 or whatever, but to see like just such a firm jump in play from the years of 21 to 26 to 27 to 32, like, I mean, he's almost hit a new level. Like your body, it's not normal for your body to do that, Adam.
He's a special talent. Everything you said is absolutely 100% true. I second all of it. I'm going to take one moment here to say that I must admit that there's a look of confusion that's overcome me because the DB is not showing his current season, and that's really getting him.
Yeah, that threw me off because I was like, oh, obviously the last one's this year.
No, this is are we live on HockeyDB.com right now?
We are live.
That is so fascinating.
Can I get a refresh?
Yeah, can we just yeah, let's see a refresher. That hit me like halfway through, and I didn't understand what I was looking at there for a second.
It is still out, and now we have the ad blocker notice. Do you want to get rid of it?
Just hit allow for now.
I mean, what do I have to do here?
Go to Are you full screen right now?
Yeah.
Can you exit your full screen real quick? I don't know if that shows me anything.
No.
If you on your browser, Jack, if you go to the three
dots,
not the 3 dots, the puzzle piece. Do you have like an ad block extension? Like
yeah, the one you gave me.
Yeah, if you might like right click on it.
Pause on this site.
Pause on this site and then refresh.
All right, so we're back in. Adam, I mean, we just don't have a 25-26 on here. Is it not a registered season, or are the fine folks at HockeyDB?
We're gonna cut them some slack because they're the best in the business. They might just be undergoing some maintenance right now. I'm gonna just very quickly. This is unprofessional of me, but I care about the DB, so I'm gonna check on my phone what it looks like right now. Yeah, on my phone, it's not showing this season right now either. Now, as any good scientist would do, Jack, I'm gonna cross-reference with another subject here.
That's a great way to look at it.
I'm just gonna click on Mika Zibanejad because he's the number 1 trending player as of 5 minutes ago.
Mika
Zibanejad's stats also not showing right now for this year. So I'm going to say that they're doing some maintenance on the website. But for the folks, again, the 4 folks at home who are listening to this right now, Nikita Kucherov has 119 points on the season, which puts him at 2 points behind what he achieved last season. And Jack, he has played 65 games this year, which is
ridiculous. So 13 less games.
13 less games. He's got 40 goals already on the season, and he's got 79 assists here. He's otherworldly. Exactly what you were saying. To be able to sustain not just point per game, but well over point per game, it's just silly. So silly to look at. And if we didn't have these shortened seasons, you wouldn't have that little breakup between his 100-point years that you do. and like 44 goals and 100 assists in a season. I think that Wayne Gretzky, and Mario Lemieux are the only 3 players in NHL history to have a season of 40 plus goals and 100 plus assists. So
it's a great stat, Adam.
I think if that's your only company, then you're doing something really well. So, and again, I'm just going to back up and say this is not showing this current season, but he crossed the 1,000 point threshold a long time ago. And he honestly, Jack, he's gonna put himself into the conversation of best Russian hockey players ever because of how good he is. He's already well up there.
Oh, you absolutely would have to think, Adam. I mean, if to kind of put a little close on the second a bit too. If you want to give a little rank here for a quick second, I don't know what you got going on. I mean, who are the firm we are taking over him at this exact moment in time? Like you're putting an Ovechkin over him, obviously. If you're staying in the forwards that are active realm, would you? And this is a tough question for you as a hometown boy. Are you putting Gino ahead of Kucherov?
I think that it's so strange because they're different types of players. I think when it's all said and done, I think Kucherov's going to have the better career numbers for sure because he's already approaching Malkin's career points and everything. And on paper, he's 7 years younger than him. And so I think it's just a matter of like how long Kucherov feels like sticking around in the U.S. for, really. And because he could be one of those guys that goes back and plays for CSKA back in Moscow and everything in the KHL and plays for a few years over there, a la Pavel Datsyuk, like what he did, or Ilya Kovalchuk, right? Like that's these Russian guys, they're such wild cards. So if we consider that he plays the rest of his career out, or the most of the rest of his career out in the NHL, I think for me probably goes like number 2. It's tough to compare, or sorry, number 3. It's tough to compare eras. I think Ovechkin is your number 1 across the board. I really like Sergei Fedorov. I'd have a hard time kicking Sergei Fedorov in his white Nike boots out of number 2. And then even though it hurts me, like objectively, I would put him 3, and I'd probably put Malkin behind him.
On that Mount Rushmore?
Adam? Yeah, if it's a Mount Rushmore, it's a lot easier because then I put those 4 guys on there, and that makes my life a lot more simple.
Adam, you know that you're not going to get away from a HockeyDB segment without a trivia question accompanying it.
Go, baby.
Adam, in 2012-2013, the Chicago Blackhawks won the Jennings Trophy for the least amount of goals given up out of their goaltending duo. Can you name the 2 goalies that comprised this duo for the Blackhawks?
Okay. Antti Niemi for one of them?
No,
he was there in 2010. All right. So it's not Antti Niemi. Might have been a young Corey Crawford in there.
The Crow is in there.
Young Corey Crawford. Who was the backup in 2013? Did they still have their hands on Cristobal Huet?
They did not.
Okay. Corey Crawford. Who was their backup in 2013? This is the year they beat Boston in that improbable comeback in Game 6. Oh.
Shout out Dave Boland.
Shout out Dave Boland. No, still don't know why he dropped his gloves on the Sally, but
yeah, he thought he won the cup.
He thought he did. He basically did.
He did win the cup, yeah. This guy has been a grid answer for us before.
Yeah, I'm sure. Damn, that sucks. I really thought that.
I believe it came out of your mouth, and we actually were using the Blackhawks as one of our teams for it.
Corey Crawford. I said Niemi and Huet, right?
You have said Niemi and Huet.
I don't know. Tell me.
Adam, rest in peace. It is the legend, Ray Emery, the other Blackhawks goalie for that run. And Adam, the last thing before we get out of here for the week is remembering Jesse Pierce, the Minnesota Wild reporter.
Okay. Sorry. You're good.
What's up?
Sorry, you're good.
Oh, no worries.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, Adam, last thing for us this week is the tragic death of Minnesota Wild sideline reporter Jesse Pierce over the weekend. I believe her children also passed away. This is just like one of those things where like you don't want to talk about it for too long. You don't need to get into what happened really, but obviously our thoughts and prayers are with the Pierce family. I know that her husband is still alive, and there's anytime anything that happens with the media kind of hits me a little different or weird. Like, I mean, it's not the same as playing, obviously, but like these are people who dedicate their lives to the sport, and like all they want is just the chance to cover games and help entertain people and deliver information the best way they can. And it sucks that someone who did that at a very high level and was very well respected passed away. And even more than that, though, a mother and stuff. And Adam, it stinks that there always is one of these every single week, you know, like that's the one thing you're missing in the world is if you just cut these out a little bit, you know?
Yeah, I agree. It sucks. I didn't really know anything about Jesse, but when this kind of stuff happens, I think that probably the most significant stuff that you learn about them is you know what the people around you have to say, right? Like what kind of impact she left. And so I know that Michael Russo, who's really good team reporter out for Minnesota, was just like pouring his heart out on Twitter about it. And so when you see stuff like that, it just makes it even more kind of gut wrenching, right? Like just see like how abrupt it is whenever somebody like is gone. So, and yeah, like you said, we just all love hockey, and so it sucks. You don't want anybody to have be lost.
I can't even imagine, dude. I can't even. Yeah. It's the worst. I mean, when you hit these things in life, man. But with that, another great week of hockey overall, and there'll be more stuff to touch on when we're back next Wednesday at 8 a.m. Make sure, once again, as always, to leave a like, a subscription, a comment, anything above that you feel so fit to do. Helps us talk to 5 people next week instead of 4, as Adam would so eloquently put it. Uno, any final thoughts?
Got to go under 22 on the Matt Vay grid.
I know, right? I mean, how about that Puckdoku? We'll be back sometime real soon on Having Fun Hockey.